Hello, hello, hello. We are tonight's entertainment. Bippity boppity boopity, here's the fucking scoopity. Today, as on many other days, I'm going to be telling you a story. One of disgust, betrayal, lies, friends, clowns, and wait. I feel like we've been here before. I feel like I've said the things I'm saying right now, but before, maybe 1 year ago. Oh wait, it's because I have said all of these things before. 1 year ago. On July 14th, 2019, I uploaded a video titled Slazo's Accusers, Electric Boogaloo, in which I explained why I and many others had issues with a group of commentary channels that were acting in a less than responsible manner on Twitter and YouTube, mainly in regards to some accusations they made about another creator who I was pretty familiar with, named Slazo.
Some of you might be wondering why it took so long to make this response. That's mainly because I wanted a good but belated response. I've got a list of things here that I want to talk about, so I didn't want to rush it, basically. I didn't want a terrible, crying, early apology, that becomes so infamous.
Now, in this video, I'm going to recap exactly what happened a year ago for anyone new to the story, explain what has happened in the year since then, attempt to correct some mistakes that I made at the time with the drama as a whole, and talk about one of the people involved who has continued to be naughty, as well as an interview with one of those people. Timestamps are in the description if you want to skip the recap. Pretty straightforward, no need to pad out the intro any longer, so
buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it.
Summer 2019. All was well in the commentary community. Your usual squabbles within the usual cliques were going on, but for the most part, the criticism was directed from within the community to the outside. People like Jake Paul, Rice Gum, Gabby Hanna, and your other typical punching bags were being talked about ad nauseum. Reddit videos were still being posted in full swing, but it was pretty peaceful. And then, the Fire Nation attacked. On June 10th, the ex-girlfriend of Slazo, being Che, posted a tweet reading, "Why I haven't been posting and what's been going on," with a twit longer attached. In this tweet, she detailed how Slazo had, in her eyes, manipulated her for his own pleasure, as well as been extremely abusive. Accusations of abuse and assault were pretty quickly thrown out there, with thousands of people liking this tweet and sympathizing with Che's story, as well as pushing the narrative that Slazo was guilty of rape. Also included were some screenshots that added to the pile of evidence and made a lot of people feel as if she was telling the truth. Additionally, due to the fact that stories of sexual assault are so common these days, a lot of community members felt a personal investment in her story and wanted to support her, mainly with what I assume were the best intentions. The people supporting her weren't just your average commenter though. Oh no. She was also supported by a wide assortment of YouTubers, big and small. The most prominent people supporting all of these accusations at the time, and some of which were also friends with Che, are the following. King Ani, a pretty popular channel that mostly posts reactions with her friends to popular memes or Reddit posts. BluesDank, someone who I had talked about on my channel and criticized for a few things and was now one of the most fervent supporters of Che. Dull and Dark, a popular meme channel in the same vein as Grande. Weast, a streamer and YouTube commentary style channel, mostly making videos about internet culture.
Basically the point I'm trying to make is stay away from gay men. Stay away from gay men.
Gyojin, Twitch streamer and animator, pretty prominent person in the community, and someone who would be talked about much more in this particular situation a little later on. ImAllexx, YouTube commentary comedian.
I don't know what I did to curse myself with forever being on straight TikTok. My For You page is like the TikTok sorting hat. Please be gay TikTok. Please be gay TikTok. Please be gay TikTok. Gay TikTok, eh? Gay TikTok it is. Yes!
I guess. And a guy who has become pretty infamous for being a serpentine, slithery snake. There are a few other people involved as well, but these are the main players that would be criticized the most. On June 27th, 2019, Slazo posted his video titled, My Side. He gave his recollection of events to the story in full, giving an explanation of what occurred between him and Che. He had a lot more screenshots than she had, many of which directly discounted what she had said. He also admitted to doing some pretty shitty things himself, which some people took as a step for him to grow and move on, and others took as an admission of guilt, even if he wasn't admitting to being guilty of what Che had accused him of. Much of the community at this point felt very torn, but others were quick to jump ship to Team Slazo and condemn the popular creators who had supported the accusations.
But I do have plenty of evidence from very early on in the relationship where she clearly made no intention to wait until 16. Now this confused me when I read it at first because it's not really how it happened. In fact, she was actually the one who brought up the entire idea of doing anything in the cinema.
This video detailed how Che had lied about many of the things in her twitlonger.
This isn't the impression that I was under. I was under the impression from these screenshots here that she's had at least 2 boyfriends and 1 girlfriend before we ever met.
The large amount of statements made in Che's twitlonger contradicted screenshots that were provided in Slazo's response, and unless you want to believe that they're all fake, which I highly doubt, then it's safe to say that Che lied about a large amount of what she said in her twitlonger. In the span of 2 weeks, the entire thing had been flipped almost entirely. Slazo regained most of the subscribers that he had lost, and his stock in the commentary community went up way higher than it was before, apart from the few people who hadn't gotten the word that the original narrative had been pretty hilariously debunked. The next step was for his accusers to either double down or apologize. Some decided to own up to their mistakes, like Dolan Dark and BluesDank, who had both shown shakiness over the situation prior and posted some pretty sincere apologies. That being said, others decided to choose their hill, the same hill that they would die on.
I don't believe he's innocent. I don't think he's innocent at all. Che may not also be innocent and may have hid stuff and used jokes to try and maybe push a certain agenda.
Many people decided to cling to their prior accusations, claiming that they would stand with their friend, felt that they were still correct, and began lashing out at those being mean or critical towards them. Most infamously Hyojin. Criticism against these people would continue for the next few weeks, but it would slowly start to die down as they stopped talking about it and it fell out of the interest of the public. To this day, the story is still relevant, however, and in the commentary community in particular, it will definitely be remembered for years to come. It was as vitriolic as I have ever seen people online, but for now at least, most of it has subdued, because most of those involved learned to never make the same mistake again. Alrighty, so, right out of the gate, I have to own up to something that happened during all of this, somewhere that I feel I was wrong. In my original video, I had included a segment where I talked about how someone who was a former friend of Hyojin and used to live with her had messaged me with some information. To sum it up, said Hyojin was essentially a drunken lunatic who would be constantly screaming and had abused a dog who lived with her at the time. While it was a rather minor point in my video, the news of it spread like wildfire and a lot of people believed it at the time. The basic purpose of what I was doing here was to bait Hyojin into responding by saying that it is ridiculous to accuse someone of something based off of a few screenshots. The obvious irony being that, well, she had done the same thing to Slazo by supporting Che, spreading her message, etc. I barely received any criticism for it at the time, and even since then, it's remained pretty dormant, mostly because a lot of the people were willing to justify spreading information about Hyojin with little proof simply because she had done the same thing to Slazo, accusing him of being an abuser and sexual assaulter with little to no proof. I gave this justification in my own follow-up video at the time, which was released 2 weeks after the initial upload I did with Slacker TV. She also responded to me via Twitter, and I'll try to be as brief as possible with this part as she was already kind of demolished in the replies, but I used screenshots to paint her in a bad light while accusing her of doing the same thing. The screenshot that was posted from the group chat about Che was taken out of context, and she just said that she didn't abuse the dog. Well, Hyojin, here's the thing. The point of me using those screenshots and discussing testimony wasn't to say that you are an outright dog abuser, and that also isn't why everyone is calling you one right now. The point was to show that a large number of people consider you to be a psycho and give you a taste of your own medicine. While I stand behind the idea that Hyojin didn't have much room to complain about this at the time, considering what she had done, I do want to apologize here and say that I'm sorry. I don't think that 2 wrongs necessarily make a right. In this case, it caused a lot more strife than it did good, as the accusations had already been debunked against Slazo, and there wasn't really a reason to add fuel to the fire. It could be argued that I fumbled with this video. Even though it had overwhelmingly positive support, it wasn't right of me to publish screenshots of her supposed behavior and not take at least partial responsibility for what happened afterwards, being that a lot of people believe she abused dogs. Say what you will about her, but sinking to that same level that they were was not a good move on my part. False allegations of this nature are not justified. It was poor journalism, and it was poor decision making. And for that, I'm sorry. I have done better since that event, and I plan to do better in the future in terms of doing proper research and not spreading misinformation. During all this controversy, as Hyojin was getting a lot of criticism and even harassment, she tweeted out saying that she would take her own life. When I saw this tweet, I was somewhat confused as to whether she was joking or being serious, as were most people, because it's hard to tell when someone is being sincere on social media. But I decided to unlist both of these videos at the time and to make an announcement on Twitter about why I had done it. In a nutshell, while I do have a disclaimer on my upload saying that I do not want harassment to occur ever, please don't do it. It's inevitable that some people in my audience are going to go out of their way to tell others to end their lives because of things they did on the internet. Of course, I don't support these guys, but it is an unfortunate result of pretty much any kind of critical content online, whether it be a video, a stream, or a tweet. A lot of people even tried to convince me that she was faking an attempt to end her own life in order to get me to take down the videos or to get people to stop criticizing her, but I saw that as pretty unlikely, and I wanted to take it as seriously as possible. And I'm glad I did. The next day, hashtag Love for Hyojin was trending on Twitter as people had come to support her mental health regardless of what she had done. This is a message that I support completely, and I'm sure that since then she's gotten help for whatever she was going through at the time. While I stand by my general message about her and the criticisms that I had, part of criticizing someone is also hoping that they're going to grow and change, not wishing the worst for them. And as for updates on this subject, we have seen a few more apologies actually. One of the people who was extremely adamant about his thoughts on the subject, and from the outside, didn't seem to even be involved directly, was Weast, who said on the stream at the time that he would never apologize to Slazo.
I stand by everything that I said and everything that I've reiterated upon. And yeah, I don't feel bad.
This seemed pretty ridiculous at the time considering how everything had gone, but he did actually recently apologize. So a few months ago, I opened my mouth about Slazo when I didn't know what I was talking about. I helped push a narrative about someone I didn't know doing something they didn't do. I was really stubborn and I shit the bed on that. I've learned my lesson and I'm sorry, Michael. I know this is coming really late, but I listened to Slazo's video on my run earlier and it just made me think about how fucking stupid I was and how much of an impact my dumbass takes had on everything. It's my understanding that he wants to move on, so I'd like to contribute to that. Some people will say that this apology is too little, too late, and I understand that mentality because a lot of damage had already been done to Slazo's reputation and some of it is irreparable. However, I still believe in giving credit where credit is due. Weast was dumb. He admitted to being dumb. He said he was sorry. He apologized to the guy he wronged. It definitely counts for something. Proud of you, buddy. Keep it up. Slazo made his own update video on the subject, explaining how he felt afterwards and how some of the effects of the situation were still being felt by him, even months later.
They reacted pretty well in general, and I was so, I was so thankful, but it didn't feel conclusive. It didn't feel like it was over, and it still doesn't really. I didn't feel like I'd won. I didn't feel like, yes, it's a victory. I've beaten the situation. I'm uncancelled, and I'm going to live happily ever after. I still felt so paranoid that it was going to flip around again, or that some YouTubers was still maybe like conspiring against me. And that's something that hasn't really left yet. I still feel time to time just irrationally afraid that I'm going to be just have the rug pulled out from under me again, by people I used to call friends. So I'm working on some videos now that you haven't seen yet. Well, you might have seen one of them by the time this goes up, but actually I'm not sure if this version is going up. I might re-record this video. What can I say? I'm excited for the future, but until very recently, it didn't feel like the cancelling was even over. It didn't, until my ex deleted her Twitter, which she did, it didn't feel like it was over, and it still kind of doesn't.
He doesn't post on his main channel as often as he did back then, but he does seem to be keeping busy starting his own media company of some kind, which he has posted updates for on Twitter. A YouTuber named Just Stop posted a few videos about this subject after mine, but closer to the time when it happened, where he criticized a lot of the people involved. They're pretty good videos, one of which was actually critical of me, and he posts a lot of respectable content, so be sure to check out his video in the description below if you'd like to see a different perspective about the topic. Overall, it seemed that everyone involved in the situation had learned a lot about it and decided to try and make amends and move on. For the next few years, it will continue to be talked about on YouTube due to how much it spiraled out of control over the span of a few days, and how intense it was. The stakes were high, and the anger was palpable. I'm definitely glad that it ended pretty quickly, because if it had been dragged out, I think things would have gotten much, much worse. What they should have done from the start is take it to the police if they had any evidence, and that is what I advise most people in similar circumstances do in the future. It is very unlikely that the public will not take issue with your statement if you have a lot of contradictions in your story. Not to mention that taking it to the public before a criminal court will often ruin the case. See the various videos about Onision and Chris Hansen. But I'll leave that story to be told by John's Swan and Nicholas Diorio. It's good to see that everyone is doing well. Very proud of them. Good to see that we got a, pretty solid ending out of the situation, all things considered. A year ago, I don't know if I would have been able to say that. Pretty much everyone here seems to have changed for the better, and I applaud them all for it. Save for one person. Alex is someone who falsely accused a number of people of things that they are not guilty of, actually stretching back years to a creator named Zaptai, someone who I felt a personal connection to and did a video about on my channel. Apart from that, we also have James Charles, Slazo, of course, and most recently the insinuation that Perez Hilton is a predator.
And yes, we're talking Charlie D'Amelio.
And yes, I'm obsessed over a 15-year-old girl. Does that upset you? Does that weird you out? Well, unlucky, I'm going to keep on doing it. Because that's what somebody would do, wouldn't they? If a police go, oh mate, maybe you shouldn't hang around schools. You don't go, hey, back at the school again. You stay away.
Now, Alex, why would you call him obsessed when you've made plenty of videos about children in the past?
Just because it's me. And here's the video he posted, where he talks about Charlie going to the beach.
Hope that my daughters are not dancing to songs about taking D on TikTok while gyrating, dancing like grown women to that song in a bikini.
Now, hey, look, man, just because she's dancing on TikTok, which is what people do on that app, and I know some of the song choices may be a bit out there, but that's music. That's like all pop music nowadays. It's all like that, and it's been like that forever. It gets played at kids' birthday parties and stuff, so that's more of a problem with pop music than it is with kids. Like, it's the music that's on the radio, so of course that's the type of music people are going to be dancing to, isn't it? Weird videos for an adult. Like, I don't know, what's wrong? Kid dances in clothing you would wear to a beach, or man obsessing over 15-year-old dancing in clothes that you would wear to the beach.
No, Alex, this simply won't do. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a phone call right now. Hey, Alex, why is it that you said the same thing that Perez said about Danielle Kahn, another similar e-celebrity that posts, well, let's call it what it is, jailbait?
You're sexualizing yourself as a child, and I'm completely aware and okay with it.
Yeah, you look a little like a 18-year-old girl in this picture.
But she's not an 18-year-old girl, is she? So she shouldn't be posting, like, stuff online. Just me? Or am I insane?
Damn, bro. Pretty cringe, not gonna lie. Honestly, I don't think anyone would really care about any of this if, well, he hadn't done it 3 other times and to a much worse degree. But we do care, Alex. I promise you, we do. It's kind of obnoxious, the amount of bull that spews out of your mouth. You'd think you'd learn.
Surprise, surprise. We are back talking about ImAllexx, the snake, the betrayer, aka Littlefinger. And for people who were concerned last time, don't worry. I don't think he's as smart as Littlefinger. I just think he betrays his friends a lot.
He's not friends with Clown. He's not friends with Zaptai. He's not friends with the Hot Wet Soup. He's not friends with Chubbs. He's not friends with Pyro. So this is why I say he's the biggest leech in the community, and he sucks off everyone bigger than him.
Most people haven't forgiven Alex for everything, due to a pattern of behavior he seems to have of backstabbing his friends and lying about them. A few creators have posted videos and podcasts about him since then, giving their thoughts, including Brad Does Banter and Giraffe, who made a video talking about their thoughts on him and how a lot of creators had stopped being pals with him after the Slazo incident.
When I went to Insomnia, we're going back about 6 months now. At the end of August.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Going back. I know you didn't go, but Alex was hated by everyone, mate. Every YouTuber hated him. Closest people to him hated him, wouldn't speak to him. The only person who was speaking to him was ImAllexx, and he was fucking barely speaking to him. Fucking, I never hated him. Fucking not Slazo. Slazo's the one he fucked over, but what's he called? He didn't show his face. What's he called? Quite hated him. All of his mates hated him. Everyone hated him. Fucking Pyrocynical's dad threatened to batter ImAllexx, Pyrocynical's dad threatened to batter ImAllexx at Insomnia. Pyrocynical's father. That is fucking true. That sounds like something I've just pulled out my ass. That is fucking true.
And honestly, why would you want to be friends with this guy afterwards, considering everything he's done? I mean, imagine trusting this dude after watching him stab people in the back time and time again. It's become obvious to me in my time online that there are very few people you can actually trust, especially as a commentary channel. Alex is definitely one of the ones that you can't. Since then, he's also gone on a few different podcasts to talk about the situation, where he claims that he was lied to and didn't really know what the truth was. For those of you familiar with the situation, this may seem kind of ridiculous considering how, in regards to not only Slazo, but also Zaptai and James Charles, Alex was at the forefront of calling these people sexual predators, two of which were his friends. On top of that, when presented with information that contradicted what he was saying originally, he stood by his position, even though the facts had changed almost completely. He seems so eager to jump on a train against them and ruin their lives. I honestly don't know what his motivations are. Maybe if it had been one time, then you could have said he was dumb. If it was twice, you could have called him gullible, but 3? 4? Honestly, I think the time for assuming good faith out of this dude is pretty much over. It's my best guess that the people watching these videos are either unaware of the overwhelming amount of criticism against him, or they're just brain dead and don't care. If you remember, one of the main players involved in this situation was BluesDank, a YouTuber who was once friends with ImAllexx but has since fallen out of favor with him and has some information to share. It should be noted that this is just his personal account. I do not necessarily endorse everything he has to say. That being said, it would be interesting to get the perspective of someone who was pretty close with Alex and was directly involved with not only this case, but also the Zaptai story from a few years ago. So, without further ado, let's get into the interview with the BluesDank. When did you learn of the allegations against Slazo, and what was your initial reaction to what you heard?
I want to say it was like probably a week prior to it becoming public knowledge. I think it was like a week before the whole Twitlonger was released. What was it? So when I was first told, it was through a Discord call, and I had just woken up. And I was like, oh, the sentence I was told was, Slazo was a rapist. I was like, wow, that's heavy. And obviously those words put you in like shock immediately, because you think, Jesus Christ, because you expect the person telling you that to not be saying it as a joke and to not be saying it without like good enough reason. So I kind of just went like, okay. And I was like, what have you got? And then sent me all these messages that everyone's seen. Like the whole chat log. My first question, all the Discord DMs I saw, I had individual screenshots at the time rather than a screen recording, which I know Che released later on, which then everyone saw on Twitter. I'd read through those and I thought my original opinion on it was just, this doesn't prove rape, but it's definitely creepy. And that's that. That's like all I put it as, because it's just, it's one of those things that's just I thought it was just a bit weird, but not at any point did I think this was suitable for the internet, and I was genuinely praying that this wasn't going to go public, because I hadn't heard anything of a Twitlonger yet. Because I wasn't in any of these group chats, like that's like a thing I said a lot. I've never been in any of those group chats that these guys were in, or the group chat that everyone was talking about. I was never in that. So I had no like inside scoop apart from one person feeding me information now and again. I would just be like, okay, just for advice. They were just like, what should I say here? And I'd be like, well, I don't know. So I made an original tweet, which was where I called him creepy. And that was just like a fucking, I tweeted out my thoughts kind of thing immediately. And I thought, you know what? This is like dumb for me to like even say anything on it. It's just rude and it's just like not needed. And it wasn't my place. So I kind of just like deleted it because I just didn't want to upset anybody really. Because like, it's not my intention at all.
Who first told you of these allegations?
So it was 2 different people. I'm not like, I just want to like preface, I don't want to be like throwing anyone under the bus, because like that's how I felt in this situation a little bit from these people. But like, so I don't want this to be seen as some kind of like revenge act on my part. But yeah, I was called by Anna and Alex, King Anna and ImAllexx. And Alex was the one who said that he was a rapist. Whether he was saying it as like a loose term or not, it was still what was said to me, and I was then sent the DMs afterwards. But I was definitely under the impression that this was probably true. But obviously I couldn't say that because that's not right. You can't just say someone's a rapist because you have a few Discord DMs. So,
Were the allegations meant to be public from the start, or were they to remain private and Shay was possibly pressured into making all of them public?
So I was under the impression that it was just like kind of something that was going to be kept behind the scenes, because obviously, like, I mean, a lot of commentary YouTubers have, because, you know, when Alex says, oh, I've dealt with loads of these cases before, like, back in the day of the commentary community, there are a lot of people that used to do and say really, like, weird shit about, like, other women and shit like that. So it was definitely something that was, I thought, okay, well, this is a big guy, like, this isn't going to go public. I just didn't think it ever would. And then I was told that, the words that I was told was, oh, Shay's working on a twit longer. And I was like, has she gone to the police yet? And they said, why would she do that? And I was like, well, I mean, if she wants to do anything with this, like, she'll have to go to the police first. Like, I've dealt with a situation in the past with someone, and she went to the police first, and she knew she had to, because if she put it online first, they would have literally thrown it in her face. And because she did actually make a subtweet about it, and after they checked her social media and she had texted friends about the situation, the police literally threw the case back in her face and like, we're not dealing with this. So I said, like, with my experience, like, don't let her post this online before she goes and speaks to someone with authority and tries to take legal action first, and make sure her parents, like, know if she actually feels like taking this seriously. And I was told that Shay just threw the whole, like, she was like, I don't want to go to the police and shit like that. But then she did speak to the parents, and it was getting this, like, muddled up thing where Shay didn't know what she wanted to do. By the sounds of things, it sounded like she didn't know what she wanted to do. But people were, like, in that group were adamant on making sure she had a twit longer, I'm sure, because one fucking came out and it was garbage.
Wait, so to be clear, what you're saying here is you think that maybe she wasn't 100% sure she wanted to, like, do anything about this, right? But people, like, pushed her in that direction, and that might have caused what we now see?
A little bit. I want to say, like, she was, like, probably, like, slightly pushed, but at the same time, I feel like she was probably on the fence about, like, whether to go to the police or not. Because, like, that's scary, right? Like, going to the police about shit is scary, but, like, and I think in her mind probably as well, like, Twitmonger is the easiest route in her head. It's the easiest thing to do. She just has to type a few fucking words and press enter and post it. But at the same time, like, it's the worst route. Like, I don't think enough people were, like, pushing it to her, like, this is a fucking legal matter. You need to take this up with authorities. Not enough people were telling her that. And I think it was just neglect from some of these people, just, like, not listening, especially to my advice. That whenever anyone said, like, anything about the situation to me privately, I'd be like, well, she's going to the police, right? And a lot of other my friends as well were also, like, telling these people, you need to go to the police about this. And they were like, if she doesn't, you have every right to go to the police as well. Because, I mean, you can call an international hotline right now if you had, like, an allegation or evidence on someone, and you can call the police and they'll call the correct authorities in their area and they'll go and see them. Like, there's no need for you to keep, like, asking someone to post a tweet longer about a creator that you've been close with. It doesn't make any sense.
Who were the main people involved in spreading misinformation, and do you think they had the best intentions behind what they did?
So, I think unintentionally, I'll start with, like, the people who I think did the least, like, quote-unquote damage. I think unintentionally, Weast spread probably a little bit of misinformation in that video he posted and a few tweets he posted. I don't remember what they said, but I remember seeing it and just thinking, why? Like, just why is he even saying anything? Because he wasn't involved in any of these group chats either. He was also, like, on the fence with me. Like, I know I made a statement, but immediately I was like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? Like, I don't need to be involved in this shit. I remember him talking about it and streaming about it, and you guys trying to stream. I was just like, dude, like, there's no need for this. And I think that it doesn't help, because you're getting your audience to, like, you said this about my tweet, Tom, which I completely agreed with. You said that without me, like, probably realizing I think this is what you said, correct me if I'm wrong, like, my tweet unintentionally, or, like, it kind of, like, makes my audience believe that these rumors might be true, or they are true. I don't know. The thing is with spreading misinformation, I think classing misinformation as well as, like, just the whole timeline of those first few days of it coming out. Like, some of Anna's tweets saying, like, I can't believe I hung around this guy. And like even my reply tweet saying like, holy fuck. Like, I think even that didn't help. It's probably also spreading misinformation. One thing that, because this is one reason why I just felt like saying I wanted to stay very quiet about it all, because I didn't really want to get any, like, I made my tweet and I thought, oh my god, and I apologized for that tweet and like apologized for acting like I was doing like spreading anything or like being biased, and then I wanted to just delete that as well, because I had a few people closer to me saying like, literally just stay quiet, delete everything, shut the fuck up, ignore it, like you're not involved, you don't want to be involved, what's the point in throwing shit away for this? And I was like, you're probably right. So that's why I went quiet, but at the same time, like, I didn't want to like make a statement and add to anything. I think adding to the fire was like something as well, but at the same time I didn't want to also tweet like, these people are fucking idiots for saying all this shit and riding this boat with like this whole idea that he's 100% guilty with no actual physical evidence. I didn't want to like shit on them because like some of them were still like my friends, even though I didn't really know at the time whether this was right or wrong, because they were so adamant they had something on him. I mean, but we didn't see anything. So, you know, it was one of those weird. But I think the obvious guy who takes the cake with spreading the most misinformation is obviously Alex. I think his Twitter videos were pretty damaging, for sure. I think he became the face of the situation pretty quickly. I've had a lot of arguments with Alex through the years, and this is just one of those ones where I just lost energy of ever trying to like rebuild anything with him. I could probably be I have been in the same room as him since, not intentionally. He just walked past through like a lobby of a building, and you know, I just looked the guy in the eye and didn't say anything. There's no need for me to ever speak to that guy again. I could stomach him, I could be in the same room as him, but I could never trust that guy with anything. So it's just one of those things, sadly. I mean, that situation, I don't particularly think he had good intentions. I think maybe inside his head he might have done, but I don't think he had good intentions towards the end of it, especially when he went on that podcast and said that he was lied to. Which, I mean, yeah, of course he was. I mean, like, to an extent, like, some of the shit Che said was like quite flat out lies, because she, you know, didn't provide context for a lot of things she was saying. I was shown like what the group chat looked like and some of the messages that were put in there, because I asked someone in the group chat to show me like what was going on, because I was literally like so angry at one point, and I saw everything and I was just like, what the fuck? And that's kind of another reason why I went quiet completely, was because like I was just beside myself with disappointment with some of the people in there and some of the shit they were saying, and you know, it was one of those things. And I remember as well seeing your video, Nick, and it was when I saw like the list that Alex said of people who were involved. One, it wasn't even 20 YouTubers, which I think is funny, that doesn't even line up to what he said on that podcast. So yeah, he mentioned me, Weast, Pyrocynical, which I think Niall might have been in the group chat, but I know for a fact I remember seeing a message of him just saying like, guys, what the fuck? Like, I think he was like also in the same mindset as me, just like, how did I get involved in this and what the fuck is going on? I think he went into damage control, and as much as I do feel like bad for him because he probably went through a bad mental time, I can't even imagine what Michael was going through.
What do you think were Alex's intentions behind sticking to Che's story, even after finding out that she had lied?
I don't think his intention particularly was to ruin someone that was innocent. I think he did genuinely believe in his head that without reason, like without like, you know, no shred of a doubt that this guy was guilty. I think he genuinely believed that. I genuinely don't think he thought there was any way that he could make himself sound innocent. And I don't think he would have expected that apology to come out as well as it did. And I genuinely, I don't know, I think Alex meant well. I think he wanted justice in his head. But I don't think he realized that, like, he's kind of like Bruce the Shark from Finding Nemo, I think. Or at least he was. He's probably changed now. I don't know. I've not spoken to him. I've not spoken about him really in a long time. But I'm sure that like he's better now. But he used to just, whenever drama like hit his nose, like blood, his eyes would roll back in his fucking skull and he'd turn into a different person. It would just change him.
Would you say that ImAllexx has a hard time admitting when he is in the wrong regarding these situations?
I think I have to agree as well, because I feel like that's most likely exactly how it is. I never really got, like, I don't know, like this vibe this like way he gets with drama never seemed to really happen in private situations. If anything ever happened like privately, like a little argument over something, it never seemed to go this route. But there was always this weird thing whenever like public drama became like a thing. He'd always get very involved in the front of the situation, which for someone who seems to be so afraid of losing everything, it's such weird behavior. Because if you were so afraid of, I don't know, bleeding subscribers on your fucking social blade and fucking being cancelled and having your fucking name like tarnished, like you'd think you just wouldn't get involved in drama, like, you know.
Why did you delete your original apology?
So I mean, the apology for the tweet, right? Like I'm trying to remember which apology, because I spoke about it on Twitch a few times as well. My whole mindset, like I just want to like say this, like my whole like where my head was at during like pretty much all of this, I was like so fucking anxious like 24/7. Like I genuinely thought every minute of the day something else was gonna happen. Kind of like how 2020 has been going. Like every day you'd wake up and think, what next is gonna happen? What else? And you'd open Twitter and you're fresh to pray and you expect something else to come out about someone and you expect someone else to say something else. It was just like I didn't want any part of it. So like when I said sorry, I was like basically trying to like apologize to Michael himself, because I knew he still followed me, and I just wanted hopefully that he could see that, because I didn't want to reach out to him because I thought that was like getting like, I don't know, I was a bit pushy. So I kind of just like apologized for my tweet, just like, dude, like I just think these messages are a bit creepy, and like there's nothing stopping him from just like saying like, I don't know why people are sharing these private DMs, like there's no need for this. Like I understand if there's an investigation on me, but there isn't. So like I can understand if, you know, I was like waiting for that, and I don't know, I kind of tweeted without thinking, and I realized that very quickly, and that's why I was like, for fuck's sake, dude. Like, and that always happens when I wake up. Like I'm very fucking bad at like waking up and tweeting a fucking dumb fuck opinion as soon as I wake up, and then realizing as soon as I get my head together, like that was a mistake, and I genuinely don't think like that, and I use the wrong words and all that shit. It's not an excuse, but like it's just how it is. So like I kind of removed my apology because I thought that's a better way of wording it, and I wanted to I was genuinely thinking about making a video on it at one point, so I was kind of just like sat there collecting like my thoughts, and there were a lot of times where I sat down in the shower and just thinking about it, like, oh my god, dude, like what am I gonna say?
Why did the second round of allegations never end up coming out against Slazo?
They were all telling each other not to say anything because they were pretty damn sure that Shay was going to write another tweet longer and talk about it more in depth and explain it even more with more like to the story and more shit that happened during. Because I really thought it was going to be a back and forth fight, really. That's what it seemed like. That's why I was like, I'm not getting involved. It's going to be back and forth because I'm going to say my opinion here. My opinion is going to change because it's going to be disproved by Michael the next day. So Shay's going to say something, Michael's going to say something, Shay's going to say something. I was like, it's going to be a back and forth. And then for some reason, for like a month, all I heard, I was like, any updates? Like, what's going on? Because I wasn't even checking Twitter at this point. I was just told like, oh, like she's working on it longer, but there's like a chance she might not do it because like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, is anyone forcing her to do it? Because like, if she's being forced to do it, she shouldn't do it at all. Like, she's already been fucking told to do this and it's gone fucking tits up. Like, if she doesn't want to fucking say anything more, she's already fucked it. So she might as well just like, I don't know, like just not say anything now. Because I mean, she got to go to the police about it. Like, she just can't. She couldn't in the first place, I guess. That's why she can't now as well. So I don't know. It was one of those fucking weird situations where every day the fucking situation changed. And every day someone's opinion changed, and it was so difficult to keep up with. And that's when I kind of realized, as soon as I got home from America, I was like, holy shit, who the fuck am I friends with? So I was just like, yeah, no. I really just sat there and thought about my morals and my opinions and shit like this, and realized, well, I don't hate Michael. I don't think he's particularly guilty because there's no evidence. So I can't think he's guilty at all. I thought the messages were a bit creepy, but at that age, I kind of feel like, well, if kids make these kind of comments, you know, like I have younger brothers, they say things they regret all the fucking time, you know? Like 16's that's the age he was, right? 16, 17, 18, I can't fucking remember. Whatever age he was, I think like a joke's a joke. And I think that's the whole like it's rape time. Looking back on it was probably most 100% fucking joke. So the fact that that was taken as seriously as it was just like how people treat conspiracy theories on Twitter these days, with the Wayfair shit. You know, like people see a screenshot and they just think, oh my god, you know, it's Jeffrey Epstein type of movie. I don't know.
What was it like with all of these allegations dropping while many of these people were at VidCon?
Horrible. It's horrible. I remember people in my house particularly didn't want to watch any of these videos. So I went and I actually remember I was like, I'm gonna go watch this video now, and they were just like, okay. And I went into my bed and I watched your video, Tom. And I was like, I think it was part 2, of your video. And I was like, yeah. And I was just like, yep. I like hopped out of bed. I was like, yep. Yeah, I was like, yep. I completely that's fair. Like you put it pretty well. And I was like, yeah. I think I need to fucking have a fucking word with people I can and try and influence these people to realize a lot of things they're saying and doing is probably not right. And I think someone like Anna, for example, I think it really affected her pretty bad, and I think she very much regret ever speaking on it. But her intent was 100% to help a friend, and Che is a friend. I think she 100% just had this idea of I want to help her. And as soon as Alex got involved, I think it just kind of warped everything for everyone. So it kind of made it seem like this big group attack, which it was never supposed to, I don't think, ever be. It was supposed to just help Che get the help she needs and do what she wants to do. But I think once a few other individuals got added to that group chat, it became a quick, get the quick one grabbed as quick as possible and make sure to ruin his career, and that's what happened.
Do you think this situation has made people more reluctant to believe allegations made online due to how they were proven false in a relatively short amount of time?
I mean, I am. I am. Reading a lot of these, I'm like, well, especially when they're I think as well, it's difficult because when I saw the offline TV stuff, I'm good with I'm friends with Pokimane, and I think that at first when I first saw it, I was like, why is this public? I feel like this isn't something that needs to be brought public. And then when I saw other accounts and other people and his friends talking about it, I slowly realized that maybe it was completely acceptable for them making it public and doing what they did. I think it does too, but at the same time, a lot of people I've spoken to who has come out about things, I've said to them hey, just I wanted to know this situation happened last year that a lot of people I knew, including myself, was involved in, and it was fucking horrible. So don't just fucking say things because you think they're right. Make sure you fucking, without a doubt, know for a fact and can prove it that it's true, and then come out with it. Because some people are I've seen some things come out and then immediately they just delete their Twitter accounts and shit after the damage has been done, and they just leave. And it's just okay. I mean, where the fuck is Che? That, I always think I actually don't think I speak to anyone that was involved in that situation at all now. I've spoken to Weast now. Again, I don't mind Weast at all. I think it's fine. I like Weast. I think he kind of fucked up like I did, really, and then kind of came at you guys. Even in just my little piece that I did, I think I probably did enough mental damage that I could never even understand, and I feel fucking terrible about it. Which is kind of what I wish that the entire internet that did view that would learn from as well, because I feel like with all these situations coming out now, there are a few of these Me Too movement statements that are coming out that are going the same route as this situation. And I'm just I kind of wish that they'd learned from that rather than thinking, oh, I should just out everyone who has a fucking social media account, with followers, which I cannot follow.
According to Alex, he has encountered 20 sexual predators who are influencers online. Is there any validity to this?
Back in the day, there was a whole group of friends that were all in this one, a few huge Discord servers. Possible's Crazy's Discord servers, pretty big as well. A lot of these people were fucking weird, to say the least. There were quite a few. I don't know if the number's 20, because I don't know why anyone would fucking sit there and count how many times you have to deal with this kind of thing, because I think that's fucking weird. There were a lot of these kind of situations, but I don't know, I feel like a lot of them either came back. I have seen a few people return after doing things that were pretty fucking questionable, and just thrive. And one dude, I can't remember his name, but Alex and a group of his friends had called him a bunch of fucking names with a few screenshots they'd had on him, and the guy quit Twitter and came back and made 1 million subs in a year. There are a few people that were just. Some people they did do some really fucking disgusting things, and there were a lot of people that Alex did have to deal with. Okay, actually, I'm going to change that, set that wording. He didn't have to deal with these people, but he did. So I think it's more of the fact that he chose to deal with these situations rather than, oh, my life's so difficult, I have to deal with all these. You didn't. You could have shut the fuck up and sit back. Just because, on a daily basis at the moment, we're seeing these fucking statements come out. Not at one point are we sat there going, I'm gonna find that this guy's guilty. I'm gonna fucking tell everyone he's guilty just because you've read a tweet longer. Like, you don't do that. You just think, oh shit. And it's just information. It's not fact. It's not, you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. It's a hard topic, isn't it, really? Like, I find it weird that someone like him wants to be involved in sexual assault shit all the time when he can't even talk about it himself.
I'd like to thank Blues for having the courage to come on my channel today to tell his story. I know in the past I've been pretty critical of him on my channel, but the fact that he is now coming out to give us the scoop on this scenario is admirable. As with anyone I talk about, don't send hate to him or any of the parties involved. Unless someone like ImAllexx does something outrageous again, then I plan to never talk about him again on my channel. And that goes for this situation as well. This saga is over. Me talking about these people is over. It is time to move to greener pastures. But it's been one hell of a ride following this story, and I'm glad you could all come along with me. Thanks so much to everyone who has watched my channel over the past year. I will continue trying to improve what I make and post the best videos I possibly can. More videos soon. I'll see you all next time. Leave me alone.